Today I'm going to show you a delicious, cheesy, spicy garlic and soy-laced udon dish that is filled with flavor, as well as a quick ground beef udon stir fry that you can whip up in a few minutes.
I absolutely love pasta, but it seems to not love me back. A lot of people get oversensitive when it comes to playing around with the flavors of pasta, which is why sometimes I don't like messing around too much with it, and I rather use udon instead. When I go to Japan, I absolutely love eating udon. You can find it with curries, you can find it as a stir-fry in yaki udon. You can even find it served with kind of like a carbonara-like sauce. It's just so versatile, so different, and just so tasty. If you've never had it before, it's basically a noodle that's made from wheat flour, water, and salt, just like a lot of other noodles. But what I really love about them is that they're so chewy and thick and unique, and you can use them in so many different applications.
You'll usually find udon in two formats at the grocery store. The first is dry and is boiled in water just like pasta. The second is already pre-cooked and is said to be added straight into wok or soup. However, I always shock boil it first to loosen it up for about 2 to 3 minutes and remove any extra starch. For our spicy garlic butter udon, you're going to need some good quality butter, 5 cloves of garlic, some parmesan cheese, chili flakes, soy sauce, oyster sauce, spring onions, and some tahini. We're going to start by boiling some water and placing in our udon. They're usually already salty, so I wouldn't actually salt the water like you would with pasta. In their dry form, they will take about 8 minutes to cook. I suggest cooking them only when you need them so that they don't get mushy if you overcook them. If you want to cook them ahead, you can also do that. Just make sure to plunge them in an ice bath to stop the cook immediately and just reheat them when needed. For the pre-cooked and packed ones, like I said a while ago, just boil this in some water for about 3 minutes. In a pan, just melt down a couple of tablespoons of butter. When it starts bubbling, add in your minced garlic and chili flakes. All we want to do here is really kind of cook this nice and slow, just waiting for that garlic to get really tender, but we don't want too much color on it. Once there, add 2 teaspoons of soy sauce, 2 teaspoons of oyster sauce, and a tablespoon of tahini. I know this sounds weird, but the tahini is basically just sesame seeds, so it kind of plays into those Asian flavors, and it will just make this dish so creamy. Mix this together, and to bind, if it's a little dry, you can always add a little bit of the starchy noodle water. Toss in your noodles, adjust the seasoning if needed. I like to adjust mine with oyster sauce, depending on the sweetness that I want to get. And then you can add in your spring onions and parmesan cheese. You don't want something that's swimming in sauce. You want this to kind of like be almost carbonara-like in consistency in terms of the sauce just being really clingy with the noodles.
It has all the notes that reminds you of like a very basic chili garlic pasta, but the udon just brings another level of chewiness, and that with the sesame and all that, just really it's kind of like a cross between an Italian dish and like a dan noodle almost.
For our stir-fry version, you're going to need some soy sauce, oyster sauce, mirin, sesame oil, white sugar, garlic, some spring onions, a red cayenne chili, some Chinese cabbage, and some banana or regular ketchup. Optionally, you can also add in a fried egg on top of this dish. Get some peanut oil hot in a pan and add in some ground beef. Once browned with some crusty bits here and there, add in your garlic and red chilies in the middle of the pan. Cook this down in the center for about 2 minutes before adding 2 tablespoons of mirin, 2 teaspoons of soy sauce, and 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce. Add about 1/2 teaspoon of white sugar and let that caramelize slightly before adding some shredded cabbage. To extend the sauce, add in a bit of cooking water just to really bind everything together. Finish this with 1 tablespoon of banana ketchup or some regular ketchup. Last minute, add in some spring onions and some sesame oil.
This is sweet, spicy, everything you kind of expect it to be. Like, think about Filipino sweet spaghetti, yet it just feels so much more Asian, and it actually makes a lot more sense to sub out the spaghetti for udon. And you can kind of play around with this in terms of how much spice and chili and garlic oil and other types of sauces that you can add to the dish. So good. With those 2 bases, you can practically add any type of protein, like some seared prawns to it, or even some tofu. It really comes down to you. So if you do try out any of these recipes, please make sure to either tag me on Instagram or to just comment below in terms of how you modified it to whatever you have locally available. Once again, I always appreciate you guys watching and commenting and liking the videos. The more of you watch the videos, obviously the more we can make. So thank you very much again for supporting The Fat Kid Inside. I really appreciate it. I'll see you next time. Peace out.